Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a holiday flan, but this one's going to be a coquito flavored flan. I just started making these this week and I am like super excited to make them for my family. So you're going to see a little bit of curves, you're going to see a little bit of sass, a little bit of boobs. But anyway, this is what you're going to need. Of course you're going to need a bowl, a mixing bowl. You're going to need a pan. You're going to need a high pan like this. I'm going to use this glass pan. And I'm going to actually put it in a nice little, I think this is an 8.5 by 4 square tin. You could do the round tin or whatever you like. You can also use a roasting dish because you want to put your flan in a water bath. That set aside, I have some boiling water in this kettle. I have a small little saucepan. You can use whatever saucepan you like. I personally like this one. And this is my mixing bowl. Okay, so the ingredients you're gonna need, and of course I'll leave them linked down below. You're going to need some condensed milk, 1 can of condensed milk, 1 can of evaporated milk. For this recipe, and I know it's gonna be funny, but I have it in a hot water bowl, is the crema de coco, and this is the Goya cream of coconut. I put it in a hot water bath in a sense, so that it can keep it melted, because crema de coco is very thick and I want to be able to mix every ingredient great, or well. I have some vanilla extract of whatever your choice, and I also have coconut extract. These are all optional. Of course, I definitely recommend the vanilla extract, but the coconut extract is just optional. You're going to need a cup of sugar. I'm using a little bit less than a cup because that's just to my liking. And you're gonna need a spatula for your sugar, and of course a measuring cup or measuring tablespoon for your extracts. Anyway, also going to need eggs. I like to use 4 eggs, so I'm just gonna take 4 eggs out of my little thing here. Put this back in the fridge. I'm actually gonna make the mix first, and then we're gonna make the caramel. I like making the mix first so I can let it sit and kind of stir it as I go along. So what I'm gonna do is, let me go grab a whisk. Also going to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees, which I forgot to mention, of course. So I'm going to start off by mixing the eggs and the extracts. I like to use 4 eggs. Some people like to use more. And actually for this mix, because I am adding a little bit more of cream, I'm doing the cream of coconut, I'm gonna add 1 more egg. And I'm gonna go wash my hands because I don't like cracking eggs and having dirty hands. I'm gonna take 1 tablespoon of each. I'm gonna take 1 tablespoon of coconut extract. And I sometimes don't do the full tablespoon. So let's just say 3/4 of a tablespoon. But then I do the full tablespoon of vanilla extract. Perfect. Vanilla. 1 more ingredient. And take some cinnamon. And I'm just eyeballing it. It could be just 1 teaspoon, whatever. I'm just eyeballing it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my mix. I don't want to leave this on my stove too long. I'm going to take my condensed milk, my evaporated milk, and I'm going to take my crema de coco. And I ain't trying to break a nail, so I use my can opener to open it. Alright, so I'm going to pour in the crema de coco first. And there's a clump in there. If you want to remove that clump, that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and mix my crema de coco that's already mixed in here with the eggs. I'm going to go in with my condensed milk. This is so good. Whisk it, stir it, whatever. I like to stir in as I put items in because you want it all to distribute evenly. And again, if you find any chunks, you may want to strain this, which I think I'm going to do, into another bowl. I did of course add 5 eggs. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my evaporated milk. And what I'm gonna do is, I actually like, I don't know if anyone else does this, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I pour in some of the milk in here so I can get the rest of the evaporated milk goodness. So I just stir it around using my little spoon. I'm just using the items I have. I'm not trying to make it more of a mess. And then just pour that in. There we go. We're done. I'm just chucking that. You could definitely put this in a mixer. Go ahead and add the rest of the milk now. Now this just takes a few minutes to mix everything. Of course, I'm giving you guys more directions and details and all that of what I'm doing. I like to do things step by step and stir things along, but if you want to just mix everything together, hey, have at it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a strainer and pour it into another bowl, and then I'll be back. So I have strained the mixture and it looks really nice and smooth. I can zoom in or bring you guys a little bit closer. I don't know if it's focused, but anyway, you can see the cinnamon. And yes, I'm butchering my words, don't judge me, I'm tired. Now I'm going to make le sugar, and I'm going to, this you guys are actually gonna get to see. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my stove. Now I have set, you wanna set this on low. You wanna set the heat on low. Just gonna clean up a little bit. I'm gonna go in, the pan seems really warm, and I'm gonna add the granulated sugar. And I did a little bit less than a cup. I find that there's like a sweet spot with the amount of sugar that I like. So I'm gonna let this sit for a second. Now I try not to stir it too much. Once it starts melting is when I start stirring it so that I can break up a lot more. But then you guys can start seeing it, I hope you can, that it's starting to shift and melt. As you guys can see how it's moving. I'm cutting into it because she's starting. So you can stir it periodically, of course. Periodically, but you definitely want to keep an eye on this, and you don't want to have it too high. So as you guys can see, it's starting to turn. And this is a process. This really is a process. You have to watch this. This is how I like to do it. Some people let it sit and then they just shake the pot around. I don't, because I don't want it to burn. Okay, so it's starting to melt a lot more, and I'm just moving it around. I'm not doing too much to it. I'm letting the white granules kind of turn brown. And then once it starts turning more liquidous, you want to keep stirring it because you want to break it apart. You want it to mix more. You want it to start turning, and you want it to cook evenly. So if you just let it sit too much, I find personally that she burns. She burns, she burns. That sounds like an SC song. But you could see it starting to caramelize really nicely. We could zoom in a little bit more. I hope we're focused. If we're not, sorry. I'm hoping we're focused. So it's starting to turn liquidous. As you guys can see, as I'm turning it, she's turning more and more. Now I like to start kind of breaking apart the chunks when it gets to this stage. At this point, you see how it's getting really, really wet in a sense, more caramelized. I would turn off the stove and keep stirring. I'm just breaking apart the crystals. It will continue to melt as you cook it, so there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna take it and pour it into my pan. So I know that there's granules, so you want to just make sure that this is not the most perfect caramel I've made. You just want to kind of turn it into the pan like so as it's melting. Well, it's melted. and it will continue to melt when you cook it. So there are crystals here. It will continue to melt. Okay, so now I have it on the central part of my pan. I'm gonna go ahead and hope we're focused. So what I'm gonna do now is, that has sat for a good second or two. I'm going to take my mix and I'm going to pour it in. Again, my oven's preheated. You're gonna hear some crackling, cracking. I'm gonna take a piece of foil and cover it. This filled it up pretty well. And because it's a custard, it doesn't rise. So I'm pinning this on the sides, because when I add the water and I check it, I want to be able to lift it. So I'm just going to bend it inward like that. A little trick of the trade there. It's like, I don't know, I'm not good at baking. All right. Now I'm going to put my hot water and create a hot water bath. Very gently, I'm going to take this and put this in my 350-degree oven, and I will see you guys when she's cooked. With this one, I'm going to bake it for 45 minutes and then check it. And if I feel like it still needs a little bit of cooking time, I'll check it every 5 minutes up until I reach an hour. So I've actually left it cooking for over an hour and 20 minutes, but I've been watching it in 10-minute intervals. So I'm taking it out of the oven right now. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. What you can do is, to see if it's cooked, just put a fork right in the center of it and pull it back out. It is very creamy and very soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it back up and I'm going to let it cool in the water, and it'll still continue to cook. And then I'm going to remove it from the water, let it cool on its own, and then refrigerate it after about 20-30 minutes. Okay guys, so we just got home from Thanksgiving dinner, and this is our first time. So it settled nicely. The middle is a little torn up a little bit because I stuck a fork in it and I tasted it. But I couldn't really tell because it was so warm, so I burned my tongue. Normally I would recommend beforehand, I would try to kind of cut into it while it's still warm, but I forgot to do this step. You could do it either or, before or after. I prefer to do it when it's still warm. So all I have to do is flip it over and she's ready to go. So I'm just taking a paring knife and just going on the sides. I'm excited because this, you know, I like experimenting and stuff, but it smells so good and that excites me. Normally do is take a plate, put it on top, and then flip it over. Now, if you don't feel it separating from the pan right away, let the flan sit just like this so that the weight of it can eventually drop. I don't feel it in the pan anymore, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna reveal this Coquito Flan, and let's see how well she did. Oh my god, yes. Oh wow. Cut a generous piece, but I kind of want to get rid of that ugly corner that fell off. And of course, you can kind of make your own recipe. Like, I just love coconut, and I like coquito, and I like flan. So I have the man of the house here. He is taste testing it. Thumbs up. It is very creamy. So it looks really, really good. It tastes really good. It's got a good texture on it. I think I could have added more eggs to this mix, but again, you would do it to your preference. I actually like the consistency of this. I like the flavor of it. It's very coconutty. It does taste a little bit like coquito, of course. You can probably add rum to this mixture, but remember, you would have to probably add more eggs, and you would need probably 2 pans to make this. So nonetheless, this is it, guys, for my I think this is my first recipe that I've ever cooked on YouTube, so enjoy. We wanted to make it worthwhile, so dale. Bye guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Let me know down below any tips and tricks on how you make your flan or some delectable things that I can make myself. I would love to know what your favorite recipes are for the holidays. So just let me know down below. Sound off. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have a safe and amazing holiday with your loved ones, family, friends, or even complete strangers. So I hope you guys like this video. Please thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Mwah!